Hi, so what I have here are 3 outlet expanders, and what I'm going to do is give you a side-by-side comparison and also the pros and cons of each, and give you all the different variations of the plugins. So you'll notice this particular one is a little bit more slimline. So what's deceptive when you buy it from Amazon is that it looks so much smaller, but when you buy it, it is pretty big. So what I mean by big is that this thing is 2 inches wide, and it's actually also like 5 inches long, and you can see just side by side it's basically just as big as the other ones. Now I find that this one has each one of these has its own particular use. Like these are the most common ones, which has the ones from the side, but so does this particular one, but they're in different orientations. Notice these are to the side, so I like buying both in fact and swapping and switching depending on the room situation and the outlet situation that I'm in. So I actually have both of these. So let me go ahead and demonstrate it with a bunch of different outlets. So this particular one is my TP-Link kind of like smart device, and this uses a lot of room. So you notice right from the start, this occupies two outlets. So that's kind of bad. And what's worse is that it's not in the right orientation. Like I can't plug it in like this and this doesn't turn. So you'll notice, it's not there. On the side here, though notice this is a little bit slimmer than these other ones. So even if you had a bunch of stuff hanging on the side, at least it's a little bit slimmer. So just keep that in mind that yes, it's taking up both slots, which is kind of bad. Now let me plug this in, and here's another very common type of plug. So you'll notice if I'm plugging a bunch of these in, some of the room that it might take up. So I don't necessarily like the orientation of this switch, but at the same time, it actually rotates 90 degrees. But I find that rotating it 90 degrees is kind of awkward, and I will demonstrate that later on. Now, all 3 of these does have the USB and USB-C, 2 USBs, 2 USBs, USB-C, 3 USBs, and the USB-C. So, this one is probably the most flexible. Now let me go ahead and, give all the dimensions at once. So this is 2 inches and 5 inches, as I've shown before, and 2 inches wide. Deep wise, it's, a little bit under 2 inches. So this particular one, I actually like this one the best. And, side by side, looking at it, you could kind of, have a rough feeling. Now, look at the difference between the orientations, but also the distance between 2 outlets. Right there. Right there. And over there. And let me show you the dimensions. So width-wise, this is actually 3.5 inches wide. Depth-wise, it is slimmer. It's 1 3/4 inches. Not even 1 3/4, a little bit under 1 3/4 inches. And I guess I had the depth. Now it's the length of this. It's a little bit under 5 inches. Now contrasting it with this one, you could see how this one has a bigger distance between the 2 sockets, but I don't think it's oriented in the right way where it would matter. So there's not going to be a socket that's going to be like that, because you're sticking it like this. So I'm not sure if this distance really matters all that much. It's really if it was side by side. So if you had 2 switches side by side like this versus it being closer horizontally, it might matter. Unless you're putting a night light or something like that. But even then, it might not matter as much. But I suppose it does give somewhat flexibility. Now, you notice if I flip this around, so this particular one is interesting because it has 30,000 basically 5-star reviews, 4.5-star reviews on Amazon. And I suppose it's pretty good, but I actually prefer this one a little bit more because if if you are going to move this a lot, the problem with this one being inset is it's flush to the wall. And when it's flush to the wall, you can't pull it out as easy. In fact, it's a struggle to pull it out for you to move it from one outlet to the other. Now, if you're going to have it fixed in one spot, that's not an issue. Whereas this one actually does stick out. Now, interestingly enough, you would figure this one would fit this particular outlet on the side, but it does not. So if I put this outlet, my smart outlet here, it actually does not fit. This would hit the wall and not fit because this is inset in to the outlet it's connecting to. Whereas this one actually sticks out and sits flush on the outlet. So this sits out flush on the outlet, so when I plug it in, it actually fits perfectly. Like there's room to actually fit this because the outlet is right along that edge. So if you have one of these TP links, this actually works better with the TP link. And this one does not work with the TP link. This one with the TP link, you're gonna have to push it out like this. So this is what I didn't want, something that sticks out of the wall, from that distance, which is exactly why I got this particular one. Even though it blocks, it's not sticking out, it's still flush from the wall at this distance. It's just wider, which, just so happens to be the same width of this as this. So I actually have my TP link right on the side here. Now, just showing you the different orientations, and even this particular one, yes, this one has, side by side. If I show you the measurements of this one, this one is also this one is wider. It's slightly wider than 3.5 inches. And it's also deeper. So it's about 2 inches. So this sticks out more. And lengthwise, it's 5.25 inches. So this one is not as compact as this, but if you're not looking for compact, it really doesn't matter. But I just wanted to show you side by side all of how these actually look, especially when you're using the smart devices with this. But overall, if I was to get two of them, I would get this particular one and this one for different orientations. And this one's kind of bulky, but I will find a use for this. Now, if I wanted this to be relocated from place to place, this is the one I would get. Now, this one actually does come with a long screw where you would, put this, basically fasten it to the wall, whereas this one does not. And this one does have a surge protector. But let me go ahead and show you the actual wall configurations. So I'm going to start out with this particular one here. And keep in mind the orientations of the switches. So it's a shame that they didn't have alternating ones, where this one's like that and this one is rotated 90 degrees, but oh well. So notice if I put this in, this particular one is still available. You could rotate it like so. But I'm not sure this is helpful if you do that. Now, if I put this particular one on, once again, you'll notice it takes up space, on the side. Now, if I rotate it, you could see what I mean, that, it would be relatively the same as one of these. Of course, it's not going to look nice. Now, having these, you could kind of see that it does fit. This one's taken up, so I only have one more on that other side, which obviously does fit, like so. And if I rotate it like that, you could see. So that's that orientation. Now taking this out and just giving you a close-up here of how this all looks. like that, or if you have a bigger one, it fits like that. So that's that with this particular one. Now next up is this particular one, and keep in mind this particular one's inset so that it fits the shape of this. So I am going to put that in. Now the thing that dropped was this particular screw. So normally if you wanted it permanent, you would unscrew this and you would put this screw in through completely to this whole thing. But I want this to be a little bit more portable, so I am going to put this one in. And it's going to cover this, but that's not necessarily a good thing, and I'll show you the reason why later on. So right there, notice it is basically flush to the wall. Now because it is flush to the wall, this particular one doesn't fit against the wall. So unlike this one where it's not flush to the wall but it sits on top of the outlet, this actually does fit, and I'll demonstrate this later on. Despite it being like that, it does fit. So if you have these TP links and you want to put two of these, on these two sockets, this is perfect for that. This particular one's perfect for that, sitting on top of it. Now this one simply doesn't fit. It does not fit because it rubs against the wall and because it's flush. So you're basically forced now to put this in the front, but when you put this in the front, of course you have stuff that sticks out way out more than you would like. So that is one of the complete disadvantages. But since I can't put that there, these other ones will need to go here. And of course with this orientation I can't put this other one here, but this one can go on the other side. And now it's interesting how this one would fit. So this one might go like so, and you would have something that fits like this. So that is this particular one. Now I can't really pull it out easily because it's flush to the wall. Even if I try to loosen it up like this, it's a little bit better. So that's this particular one. Now let me show you this one here. So this one here will sit right on top of this outlet. So just putting it in, you'll see how this one sits right on top. And this one is actually kind of the slimmest one, from the wall. So as I mentioned, it turns out that that is an advantage, because when you put it here, it actually has just enough clearance, or even 2 millimeters of clearance right there. This one will have the same issues as the other one. Right here. And keep in mind now, because you have one to the side, it doesn't stick out as badly. But you'll still have this issue like that. So you'll notice this surge protector is blinking. Now let me show you another configuration for this one that I'm using in my bedroom. So keep in mind that all of these have the USB. So it's going to be nice and handy. Now I have this particular configuration in my bedroom here, and you can see that I do have the TP link. I have another round socket there that fits better because it is jutted out a little bit. And also I am using the recharger, or the USB, and also a lamp socket there. Now I could rotate this one here, so when I rotate it, it'll look something like that. I could fit a light, a night light, for example, and it does seem to hold the weight, even when it is rotated 90 degrees. And I can't quite show this, but it also rotates 90 degrees the other way, like so. And you can see now the round thing. The round thing is actually my Google Home. So that plug fits just right, like that. And I could also fit a night light if I wanted to. Like that. Oops. I just didn't put it, in enough. So, but I think all that gives you, a very good variety of variations that you could see.